Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a wild one for you. This movie takes us deep into the lives of a young couple, Pippa and Thomas, who move into their dream apartment in downtown Montreal. But what begins as an exciting new chapter quickly spirals into a twisted, suspenseful journey filled with obsession, manipulation, and shocking betrayals. Stick around until the end as we dive into this disturbing and intriguing story. Let's get started. Pippa and Thomas, a seemingly perfect couple, move into their dream apartment in downtown Montreal after a long wait. Pippa, an ophthalmic assistant, and Thomas, a home-based musician and video creator, are excited about their fresh start. On their first night in the new apartment, Pippa suggests they delay having kids for a few years, wanting to enjoy some personal time after medical school. Thomas agrees, and they toast to their decision. But as the night goes on, things take an unexpected turn. As they unwind, they notice their neighbors, an attractive couple, Margot and Brent, engaging in intimate activities right in front of them. Pippa insists they stop watching, but Thomas argues it's not spying since it's all in plain sight. Pippa, annoyed, goes to bed early, while Thomas falls asleep before they can be intimate, making the night feel like a disappointment. The next morning, Pippa tells her friend Ori about the previous night, and Ori suggests it's fine to watch open displays of intimacy. Pippa disagrees, feeling uncomfortable, but the conversation soon takes an unexpected turn when Pippa's boss gifts her a Japanese lantern as a housewarming present. When Pippa returns home that evening, Thomas surprises her with a painting symbolizing their love. As they hang the lantern outside, their curiosity grows, and they begin fantasizing about their neighbors. They nickname them Margot and Brent. Things take a strange turn when, while watching from their window, Brent suddenly starts coughing violently, struggling to breathe. Margot doesn't seem to notice, dancing obliviously, and it's only when Pippa and Thomas shout for help that Margot notices and saves Brent just in time. Later that night, Pippa finds herself captivated by the sight of Margot and Brent's intimate moments, unable to look away. The next day, she decides to buy a pair of binoculars, allowing her and Thomas to observe their neighbors more closely. Their voyeuristic obsession grows when they see Brent welcoming a new girl, his photo model, into his home, eventually seducing her. This stirs something within Pippa and Thomas, shifting their focus of attraction to Margot and Brent. As the days pass, Pippa becomes more fixated. One night, she notices Margot returning home, and upon realizing Brent is cheating, her suspicion grows. The next day, Pippa, Thomas, Ari, and Joni, Thomas's sister, are at a restaurant discussing the strange relationship between Brent and Margot. Thomas suggests they might be swingers, part of a small percentage of couples who allow extramarital sex. While the others find it amusing, Pippa feels sorry for Margot. Pippa's curiosity deepens, and she recalls an old college memory of Thomas and Joni rigging a laser pointer to eavesdrop on a classmate. Excited by the idea, Pippa asks Thomas to show her how it works. They devise a plan to use the device to spy on their neighbors, but Thomas warns her that they would need a special mirror, which is illegal. Pippa, still determined, finds herself drawn to Brent's apartment, especially when he wears a strange satin mask during a Halloween party. They sneak into Brent's party uninvited, and once inside, Brent lifts Pippa and takes her to his photo shoot, leaving a shocked Thomas behind. Brent continues to pose Pippa provocatively for photos, sending her heart racing. Seizing the moment, Thomas attaches the reflector to the device, and the couple heads home, ready to execute their plan. Once home, they quickly set up the equipment, activating the microphone and adjusting the laser to get a clear view and sound from Brent and Margot's apartment. They successfully intercept a conversation between the two, hearing an argument where Margot accuses Brent of cheating. Brent responds violently, breaking a glass and leaving Pippa and Thomas shocked and disturbed. The next day, Pippa unexpectedly bumps into Margot at her clinic. They strike up a friendly conversation, and Margot invites Pippa to meet up over the weekend. Thomas is uneasy about Pippa continuing her investigation, warning her against it, but Pippa insists it's her moral duty to help Margot, especially if she's being cheated on. The tension between Pippa and Thomas grows as they argue about the relationship and their future, with Thomas fearing he's not enough for her. The following day, Pippa meets Margot, whose real name is Julia, at a local spa. Julia opens up about her troubled life, including her husband, Sebastian Sub, and her struggles with her career. Pippa suggests they meet again, and they part ways. As the days pass, Pippa becomes obsessed with watching Sub and Julia from her window, but the atmosphere in her home grows tense, and she can't shake the feeling of unease. Unable to sleep one night, Pippa secretly accesses the computer to spy on the couple once more. She sends Julia a text message through their printer, asking if her husband is cheating on her. Julia is confused, but after finding a used condom in the bathroom trash, she becomes overwhelmed with frustration and sadness. Pippa, feeling guilty yet determined, reaches out to help Julia, but her actions only drive a further wedge between her and Thomas. The tension escalates as Pippa sends more cryptic messages to Julia, even leading her to the point of considering harming Sub. Meanwhile, Thomas, angry and anxious about the situation, breaks the binoculars in frustration. The next morning, Thomas expresses his disappointment in Pippa, but she promises not to use the binoculars again. But just when it seems like things are settling, Pippa sees Sub trying to wake a bloody Julia. In a devastating twist, Julia has committed suicide. Pippa, overwhelmed with guilt, realizes that her actions indirectly contributed to 2 deaths. In the aftermath, Pippa continues her obsession, watching Sub at a bar. He notices her, and they begin to talk about his tumultuous relationship with Julia. Sub shares his views on sex and cheating, leaving Pippa to question her own feelings. One night, Pippa joins Sub at his place, where they engage in a passionate affair. Meanwhile, Thomas returns home, only to find his worst fear realized. Pippa is having sex with Sub, the very man she claimed to be rescuing Julia from. Devastated, Thomas storms out. The next morning, Pippa comes home to find the door open. She enters cautiously, only to discover a fallen bouquet, and a shocking sight: Thomas has hanged himself. In the wake of Thomas's death, Pippa is consumed by guilt. The following day, she attends his funeral and sees an advertisement for Seb's art exhibition. When she attends the exhibition, she's stunned to find photos of herself and Thomas, leading up to Thomas's suicide. Sub explains that their obsession with others' lives caused emotional turmoil, manipulating Pippa's feelings. Devastated, Pippa leaves the exhibition and breaks into Sub and Julia's apartment. In a fit of rage, she destroys a photography studio filled with cameras that had been capturing her every move. Later, Sub and Julia are interviewed by the media about their project. They reveal that Pippa and Thomas had unknowingly signed a lease granting permission to be photographed. Pippa, still reeling, sends them a cryptic message. "I know." She accuses Sub and Julia of causing Thomas's death, but they dismiss her claims. In a final confrontation, Pippa reveals that she knows they drugged Thomas and staged his death. As Sub and Julia collapse from the effects of the wine, Pippa uses a surgical laser to blind them, ensuring they can never hurt anyone again. Days later, 2 new tenants move into the apartment. They notice Sub and Julia's old place and ask about it. The other tenant simply tells them to mind their own business. Meanwhile, in the apartment across the hall, Sub and Julia, now blind, are left to live in the dark, as Pippa's revenge is complete. And that's where the story ends. Pippa's obsession has led to a tragic and disturbing chain of events, ultimately costing her both her partner and the lives of the people who manipulated her. What do you think of this twisted story? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more recaps. We'll see you in the next one.